I welcome you to this soothing evening. The room is quiet. The light is soft. I am here to guide our time together. My voice moves slowly. Each word rests like a small stone on still water. Settle where you are. Allow your body to find ease. Let shoulders drop. Let the air relax. Breathe slowly. Inhale along. Gentle breath. Exhale and release. Let the rhythm of breath match the slow pace of these moments. Tonight begins a gentle path. It unfolds in parts. This is the first step. Over many evenings we will move through it. Each part gives a place to rest. Each part brings a steady, calm word. I read the Bible to you before sleep. That is my quiet work. I do not rush. My aim is to bring comfort. I bring words of mercy. I bring hope held in the name of Christ. The reading is simple. It is slow. It is meant for listening, not for studying. Listen with your ears and your heart. Let the words fall soft. Imagine them like warm light on a window. They do not demand thought. They offer presence. They do not argue. They invite. If your mind wanders, that is fine. Let it drift like a small boat on a wide lake. Guide it back gently to the breath. The voice returns, and you notice again. No pressure comes with the noticing. Only welcome. I speak not to prove or to debate. I speak to remind. The Bible carries short. Steady truths. One is mercy. Another is peace. Another is hope. These are the things we carry into sleep. They are not heavy. They rest lightly on the chest. Before we read, make a few small acts of care. Dim the overhead light. Pull a blanket over you. Place a hand on your own knee or on the bed beside you. Close the door to noise if you can. These small gestures tell the body it is safe. The body begins to accept rest. We will not hurry through the pages. We will not push past the pauses. When a sentence asks for attention, we linger. When a phrase asks for quiet, we hold it. The reading is a gentle rhythm of words and space. I keep the tone humble. I keep the language plain. This time asks for simple sentences. Complex arguments are not welcome here. The Bible is a companion for the evening. It reaches for the weary. It gives a steady hand to the anxious. It whispers of rest. You may feel tangled with the day's worries. Name one quietly in your mind. Place it on the breath. Watch it float away with a gentle exhale. The reading that follows will not ignore those things. It will fold them into the larger story of compassion and care. Christ's mercy is not a distant idea. It is a present warmth. It sits like a soft blanket around shoulders that have carried much. It does not call for lists of works or for long explanations. It simply receives the tired and gives calm. Tonight, we open to that reception. Hope is quiet in this hour. It is not a bright trumpet. It is a small lamp by the bed. Its light is steady. It shows a path through the dark minutes. Hope does not erase pain. It steadies the hand when fingers tremble. It keeps watch while sleep arrives. We read together. Though you may be alone, my voice becomes a companion in the hush. The words become a slow map for the heart. They move with the steadiness of tidal movement. They come and go. They return. Allow your eyes to close if that helps. If you prefer to look at a small point of light, keep it soft. The eyes find rest either way. The ears remain open. The words travel inward. Tonight I choose passages that mend. I choose verses that soothe. I leave long commentary for daytime. The tone is prayerful and calm. The goal is peace for the night. If tears come, let them. They are part of the unburdening. If a smile lifts gently, hold it. If sleep comes sooner than you expect, that is welcome. The reading will keep its place. It will not be offended. Rest is exactly the intention. This time asks for privacy of thought. Keep questions and debates for another hour. For now, the mind rests in simple affirmations. You are seen. You are cared for. You are not alone. These are the truths we accept tonight. We move slowly from welcome to reading. The first sentences set the tone. They speak of creation and care. They speak of a shepherd who walks beside. They speak of light that does not fail. They open into images that soften the mind rather than stir it. When I read aloud, I choose measured pacing. I pause at the breath marks. I allow silences to hold weight. These silences are not empty. They are small rooms where the heart may dwell. You may notice the weight in your chest easing. You may notice the shoulders settling down. This is the body aligning with the rhythm of rest. Let it happen. Let the mind accept the permission to pause. We will spend this evening in parts like this. Each part follows another with gentle continuity. There will be no sudden turns. The arc is calm and slow. The series of readings forms a long, smooth curve. Each night lengthens the peace we carry. Please keep devices silenced. Let the world wait at the door. This hour belongs to quiet. This hour belongs to a quiet reading and a quiet heart. If any sound comes, greet it as part of the night and return to the breath. I invite you to sense the presence of mercy as a simple fact. No elaborate theology is needed. Mercy is the hand that steadies. Mercy is the word that forgives and holds. Mercy comes in the quiet and the ordinary. Tonight, we receive it like a soft blanket. We also invite hope to settle in the small spaces. Hope is not rushed. It grows like a small root. It burrows into the soil of a weary heart. The reading waters that soft root. The lamp of hope gives small light for the next day. If sleep arrives midway, rest in it. If wakefulness comes, stay with the gentle cadence. There is no failure in either. This time does not demand productivity. It asks for presence. Now, take one more deep breath. Feel the inhale move slowly. Feel the exhale lengthen. Let the breath be a quiet bell that marks the start of the reading. The words that follow will be soft and steady. I begin with calm and with care. The voice is a quiet companion. The Bible becomes an evening balm. Together, we enter this restful space. The path ahead is slow. We follow it with gentle steps. When I start to read the first passage, allow the words to sink. Let the story wrap around the heart. Let the images guide rather than chase. Let the invitation to sleep be tender and sure. We begin now. The lamp is low. The blanket is warm. The breath is even. The evening opens into the first reading. My voice goes on, soft and unhurried, to lead you gently into rest. I move closer to the low lamp. The air around the bed feels cool and safe. A single breath settles everything. Muscles soften in small increments. The head finds a deeper place on the pillow. Feet relax into the sheets. Aquiet holds like a fat belle. I open the book slowly. The cover is soft to the touch. The pages lift under my fingers. My hand rests on a single place. The reading begins with a short scene. The scene is not loud. It is made of simple things. The passage unfolds like a small room. Light comes first. It spreads gently and does not force the eyes. The scene names the beginning of things. It shows a slow ordering. Shapes gain outline. Space becomes room. The image asks only to be watched, not analyzed. Breath keeps pace with the lines. I read one short sentence. I pause. The pause offers a quiet space. The next sentence arrives like a footstep in soft grass. I pause again to let the sound settle. The silence is full of small sensations. A heartbeat slows. Thoughts do not need to sprint. They can walk. The next image leads into green places. A voice calm and steady speaks of gardens and rivers. The river in the words flows without hurry. It carries nothing heavy. It moves with a gentle current. The mind pictures water that cools the hand. The skin remembers the coolness. A small relief comes with that memory. I linger on the part where the earth gives food. Grain is placed in simple bowls. Bread rests with quiet dignity. The scene is not about abundance as spectacle. It is about enough. It holds the taste of warmth and the comfort of being fed. The body recognizes that kind of peace. The stomach, long tense, eases in response. A shorter passage draws toward a place of shelter. Rocks and a simple house appear in the mind. The house is not grand. It is a safe place. A roof offers shadow. A door closes without noise. The shelter is both nearby and intimate. It is the kind of shelter that receives a tired traveler. The heart can recognize this welcome. I speak the next few lines with soft cadence. The sound is low and even. It matches the hush of night. Each phrase is measured. Each sentence is given room to breathe. The reading is not hurried. The rhythm becomes like slow walking. The feet step carefully. The mind keeps company with the words. An image moves to a hands that heal. The scene shows gentle touch. That touch does not demand change. It holds and stays. It presses lightly where the pain sits. The pressure is a kindness rather than an instruction. The body relaxes under that gentleness. Tension blinks and fades in small increments. The passage brings a kind of steady watching. There is no sudden triumph. There is a quiet keeping of the one who cares. The language suggests a presence that watches through the night. It does not chase after every worry. It sits with them. It is patient. The mind feels that patience like a warm shawl. I slow further. The next lines turn to the sea and its moods. A small boat moves across the water. Wind comes and plays with the sail. Clouds gather, then pass. The words show a voice that speaks into the wind. The sea listens. Then the water smooths. The motion of the waves becomes a slow breath. The listener can imagine lying on a shore and letting the rhythm of the waves set the breath. The scene is restful. I pause long enough for the image to sink. The pause is a deep room where thought can come and go like clouds. The breathing deepens without effort. The shoulders drop another notch. The body accepts that this moment is for resting. Light returns to an indoor table. A group shares simple bread and warm drink. Conversation is not loud here. It is soft, almost like humming. The food and the voice create a small circle of comfort, even if the listener sits alone. The picture offers a sense of company. The feeling of not being alone is gentle. It does not erase trouble. It simply changes its shape. The next passage speaks of a lamp kept near a bedside. The lamp does not glare. It emits a steady light. The light is enough to read by or to find the hand of a neighbor. It is not a brilliance that frightens the dark. It is a companion light. The mind keeps it near. The lamp shows that small things can hold a great steadiness. I move my finger down the page and sense the cadence of the text. The sentences invite brief rests between them. The rests are deliberate. They make space for the body to follow. The ears become attentive to the tiny shifts in tone. The voice remains a low tide that rises and falls. A shorter image appears of a valley. The valley is shaded and cool. It offers safe passage. The road through it is worn and familiar. The steps are sure, because the traveler knows the path. The passage says that pressing through is allowed at a slow pace. It does not ask for sudden bravery. It honors the small courage of each step. I speak the lines about forgiveness in quiet terms. Forgiveness is named as an act that frees rather than a demand that must be earned. The language speaks of a letting go that feels like unclenching the hands. One can picture opening the fingers and watching a small stone fall away into grass. The release is soft and lightening. The reading stays away from long debates and heavy ideas. It keeps to immediate comforts. The images are practical. They reach for what can be touched by the listener. A warm towel, a sheltering hand, a cool river at midday. These images do not require argument. They require only attention. As the passage nears a finish, a short prayer arises in simple form. It is not ornate. It is a quiet hope for rest. The words ask for gentle waking when morning comes. They ask for ease in the minutes between midnight and early dawn. The prayer does not demand certainty. It asks for accompaniment. I close the page with care. The book rests on my lap. The lamp throws a rounded pool of light. The room holds the echo of the words. The echo is not loud. It sits like a soft afterglow. Allow your thoughts to drift where the words invited them. Imagine cool water. Imagine bread. Imagine a lamp near a bedside. Let those images fold into the darkness like small flags of calm. They are not commands. They are small gifts to tuck beside the heart. If the mind returns to lists or tasks, guide it back with a single breath. Use that breath as a small rope to pull the attention home. The breath is enough. It is a simple tool that does not fail. It invites the body to follow. I remain quietly present as you settle. The reading lives now in the space between breaths. There is no hurry to rise from this place. The room is steady and kind. The night holds a soft rhythm. The body is invited to match it. When the eyelids feel heavy, let them close. If sleep already hovers, welcome it. If wakefulness persists, hold the steady images longer. Keep repeating the small scenes in the mind, the steady lamp, the cooling river, the roof that shelters. Each image acts as a small anchor. We will pause here for a few moments. The silence that follows the reading is part of the practice. It is not an absence. It is a continuation. The body receives the quiet as a present. The mind learns that it can rest without solving everything. Before I rise to the next section, I offer a final, gentle line of assurance. The night holds a company that does not press. Mercy moves quietly like breath. Hope is a lamp kept low and true. These things do not demand a response. They simply remain. When the slow bell of the next part comes, I will open the book again. The pages will turn with the same measured care. The path remains gentle. For now, let the words we have shared sink. Let them rest in the body. Let the breath keep company. This part ends in that calm. The lamp is still. The book is closed for now. The night continues with soft steps. Rest follows slowly. And I stay with you until the next passage begins. Let's take a deep breath and center ourselves in the presence of God. Remember, being here is an act of self-care and openness to His love. I speak that gently. The room listens. The breath answers. Now I turn the page to the third part. The heading names, Matthew 11:28. I let the reference sit in the air. I do not rush the moment. The book rests open like a quiet invitation. I read the verse in a soft paraphrase. The words are an open hand to those who are tired. They call to anyone carrying weight. They promise rest rather than a list of tasks. The voice that invites is calm. It does not demand loud proof. It simply reaches. Hear this as if someone stands beside you, bending near with no hurry. Come to the one who welcomes the weary. Bring the load you have carried all day and all week. Lay it down. Receive rest that is given, not earned. The offer sits like a warm blanket. You did not have to sew yourself. I pause it. The pause is a small room where the meaning can breathe. Breathe with me now. Inhale long and easy. Feel the ribs lift. Let the shoulders soften. Exhale and imagine placing one small worry into the palm of that invitation. Watch it go. The act is a gentle exchange, not a struggle. I speak of burdens as things that press on the shoulders. Picture a pack heavy with stones. Each stone may be a regret, a fear, a plan that did not turn out as hoped. One by one, the stones feel lighter when the pack is set down. The ground underfoot is steady. The hands are free to rest on the knees. The face can quiet. The rest promised here is not a quick sleep of forgetfulness. It is a deep settling. It is like a hand smoothing a blanket across the chest. It is like cool water on a dry wrist. It is the kind of ease that lets the pulse slow without effort. The heart agrees with the lungs and the body follows. I do not offer long reasoning. I bring an image that the senses can hold. Imagine a small boat tied to shore after a long row. The oars rest. The water holds the boat. The wind drops. The body loosens as the boat rocks gently. Safety does not appear with fanfare. It arrives in the small steadiness of still water. I invite a simple act. If it helps, name one thing that feels heavy. Say it quietly in your mind. Do not weigh it with argument. Say it as if placing a pebble into a shallow bowl. Take one slow breath. Let the exhale carry that pebble toward the edge. Let the breath carry the pebble beyond the rim. The motion is small. The release is real. There is tenderness in the words I read. The tenderness is like a lamp kept by a bedside for a friend who comes in late. The lamp does not glare. It shows a path. It keeps one close enough to the one who watches, but far enough to let sleep come. Mercy lives in that lamplight. It is enough. I also note that rest here is meant for the whole person, not just the tired head, not just the frayed emotions. The body is included. The hands gather peace. The feet let go of pacing. The jaw unclenches. The back relaxes into the bed or the chair. The invitation is wide and safe. Imagine hands that gently touch the brow. There is no examination, only presence. The touch does not fix every ache all at once. It holds what it can without insisting on a swift outcome. The heart listens and finds company. The mind receives a small permission to loosen its grip. I slow the pace of my voice so the imagery can rest. The sentence rhythm becomes like a heartbeat at rest. In this tempo, I let a second picture come. Picture a path through a quiet field at dusk. The path narrows. The more it is loved. The grass bends slightly as a warm breeze passes. Stars begin to look out. You do not have to hurry along the path. The path holds no score. Each step is welcome. The verse I read offers a model of rest that is not the same as avoiding life. It is not an escape from care. Rather, it changes how care is carried. Responsibility remains. But it is born in a gentler posture. The shoulders align with support. The hands are open rather than clenched. The life lived from this rest is steadier and kinder. Pause again. Let a slow inhale rise. Let a longer exhale release. The breath becomes a companion for this letting go. If thoughts return, receive them without judgment. Guide the attention back to the breath and the quiet image of a hand taking a stone and placing it lightly on the ground. I offer a short prayer in simple form, spoken slowly and quietly in my own heart. The prayer asks for a gentle waking. The prayer asks for mercy to linger like a quiet guest through the night. The prayer asks that the promise of rest remain close, even as the world shifts. The prayer is brief. It is sincere. I remind you that being present here counts as self-care. The act of coming into this space is a response to the invitation. It is not an achievement. It is not measured by productivity. It is a humble acceptance of care. That acceptance alone will begin to change the posture of the evening. If sleep starts to come now, receive it without guilt. Sleep is a faithful worker of repair. It is not laziness. It is a form of trust. If sleep does not come, Continue to rest in the images and the short, steady breathing. The night has its own timing. There is no failure in waiting. I return the mind gently to the book for a few more lines. The voice reads a reminder that gentle burdens can be shared. Companionship is part of rest. A shared burden is often lighter, simply because it is seen. Imagine a companion walking beside you with no hurry and no correcting. Their presence itself eases the load. Allow the room to be quiet for a few measured breaths. The silence after the words is part of the reading. It is an open place for the heart to rearrange itself. Silence keeps the invitation alive. It allows the promise to settle into the spaces where daily noise often fills the cracks. As the part closes, I let the lamp near the bed glow a little longer. Its circle of light holds the pages for a moment. The book rests where a finger can find it again. The promise of rest remains like a small lamp kept steady through the hours. I offer one last encouragement. Keep the simple practice of naming one burden and breathing it out. Do it without pressure. Do it with gentleness. Let the act be a hand that lifts from your shoulder and places the weight down. The world may still be noisy tomorrow, but tonight there is an offered rest. I close this section with a quiet blessing spoken in the softness of my heart. May the rest that is promised find you tonight. May it settle into the shoulders and soften the jaw. May mercy keep you company until morning comes. The lamp stays lit for a while yet. When you are ready, let your eyes fall closed and let the breath lead you into rest. This part ends with the stillness of an offered hand. The book remains open nearby. The path continues when you are ready. For now, hold the small promise and breathe. I turn the page with a slow, deliberate hand. The book rests open between us. A soft breeze from the window stirs nothing but the curtains. The page names a well-known thought. I let that thought sit without hurry. Listen with the ears of the heart. Hear an image more than an argument. Picture a shepherd who knows each name. Picture the shepherd, moving with steady steps through a quiet morning. The scene is simple. It asks only that attention come down from the head and settle into the chest. I speak the lines in a low voice. Each sentence is given room to breathe. The shepherd leads. The lead is not sharp. It is a gentle guiding. No harsh commands follow. The motion is like a hand laid on the shoulder, and then an invitation to walk together. The body reads the touch as safety. Imagine green fields, opening like a soft sigh. The grass lies cool and even. A place that invites lying down appears in the mind. There is no rush to rise. The ground offers rest. Let the spine lengthen a little, as if making room for that rest. Let the shoulders unroll. The breath finds a natural rhythm. Water comes next in the picture. Not a river that presses, but still water. A small pool that mirrors the sky. The pond holds the sky without change. The sound near it is minimal. Even that quiet is a sound subtle and steady. Picture a hand held just above the pool. The skin meets the cool. The pulse softens. The shepherd walks between the two images, grass and pool. The path he takes does not hurry. The travel is the kind of movement that suggests repair. Imagine small seeds buried too shallow. The hands of the shepherd press soil gently on them and wait with patience. That waiting is part of the care. Notice the word, restore. without needing to unpeel theology. Think of belongings left on a bench for too long books. Coats, gloves freshly folded and set near the door. The body recognizes that order. A tired heart that has been jangling like loose keys now feels like keys placed back on a ring. They make sense. Rest stitches things that have come undone. I lower my voice more. The room listens more closely. Let the inhalation be a small acceptance. Let the exhalation be a release. Move breath slowly. Match it to the gentle imagery. Each breath becomes a measured footstep on a path that is safe to travel. The shepherd's voice in the picture is not a barrage of instructions. It is a steady murmur that points out places for rest and routes that avoid harm. The guidance is wise without being overbearing. Imagine someone who has walked the way before and now walks beside you, so you do not need to check every map. That kind of company shifts tension into ease. Paths of care appear next. They are right-sized paths, not the mountain that demands a sprint, not a road that needs perfect footing. These paths suit the feet they ask of. The steps on such paths are moderate. They teach the feet how to come back toward balance. Think of a trail where each stone is friendlier than the last. Progress here is steady and kind. Rest often looks like surrender, but not in the weak sense. It looks like trusting the hands that steady you. It looks like placing a heavy coat on a peg and folding palms in your lap. The act feels like a small, holy practicality. Let the muscles that have been braced release one by one. The jaw, the brow, the place between the shoulders. Each loosens as if receiving a careful command to relax. Mercy lives quietly in these images. It comes like a pair of warm socks after cold shoes. Mercy expects nothing in return for the warming. It simply warms. Imagine toes easing inside the fabric. The relief is gentle and complete. Mercy here is offered the same way, a present thing. No ledger, no talis, only warmth. Hope in this passage is not a grand brightness. It is a small, dependable thing. It looks like a morning sky that promises light even under clouds. It is the simple assurance that the guide does not abandon the route. The promise is not a guarantee of easy days, but a steady companion through them. The heart holds that companion like a small lantern. The lantern does not blaze. It clarifies the next step. If the mind questions whether this is for you, bring that question to the breath. Do not wrestle it. Offer it like a leaf to a stream and watch it float. The image of a shepherd who knows your name continues to steer without needing your full agreement. Presence does not require perfection. It only requires coming. A small movement towards the offered space. I invite a practice now. Picture a small meadow. See the grass, the sky, the still water. Take one slow breath in. On the out-breath, imagine lying down there. Feel the weight of the limbs settling. Stay for a moment. Breathe again. Let a short phrase that carries comfort find a place in the mind. Keep it simple and true. Let it be a small anchor. The restoration mentioned in these lines is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is the small reordering that makes sleep possible. A hand that steadies the head, a breath that slows, a thought that softens. These are the stitches by which the night mends the day. They appear in little measures, and together add up to repair. I do not demand that troubles vanish. That is not the aim of these words. The aim is steadiness. The aim is a posture that can hold difficulty without falling apart. Picture a shelf that carries many small jars. Each jar holds a different worry. The shelf here is built stronger. It is cared for, so the jars do not clink and crash. Companionship is part of this passage. You are not walking alone, even if the house is quiet and the bed is solitary. Imagine the step beside yours. Imagine hands that guide rather than push. The presence is not theatrical. It is companionable, persistent, merciful. It keeps a gentle pace. Pause with me now. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a heartbeat. Release. Let any remaining tension leave with that exhale. Allow the body to follow the mind's new rhythm. Match the breath to the quiet path. Each cycle of breathing is a small prayer without words. I offer a brief, inward prayer here. It is simple. Ask for the quiet to come. Ask for the shoulders to lower. Ask for the waking to be gentle. The prayer need not be ornate. A single line of honest need suffices. The hush of the room welcomes such small requests. When you feel ready, rest your head deep into the pillow. Let the night receive you. The images of green places and still water may return as the mind seeks calm. They are simple tools for the heart. Use them without pressure. Hold them lightly. I keep the book near. The pages lie softly. The voice slows further to a near whisper. The room becomes a cradle for the images we have held. Mercy remains like a fabric tucked close, and hope keeps a small, steady watch. This part closes with a measured blessing spoken quietly in the heart. May the care that guides you continue through the dim hours. May the rest offered like green fields find its way into the bone. May waking be gentle, and the path forward kindly lit. The book closes a little for now, but the picture stays. When you are ready to sleep, do so without hurry. If sleep delays, return to the meadow and the still water. Walk the steady path. Feel the shepherd's hand in the motion of your breath. Rest is given. Receive it. I bring a small story now. It moves slowly. It rests in the middle of the night like a soft hand on a shoulder. I begin in a place that could be anywhere. A road runs between low hills. The sky leans toward dusk. A few lamps glow in windows. The air smells faintly of wet earth. Sound is low and rapt. This is a safe place to hold a story that will not demand much from the heart. The main figure in the tale is simple, a keeper of those who travel, not a loud leader, but a careful one. The keeper watches for the small things, a shoe that loosens, a lamb that wanders near a fence, a child whose breath stirs uneven in sleep. The keeper moves without hurry. Each step counts less for speed than for steadiness. I set the scene with small details. A blanket folded on a bench, a kettle that cools on the hearth, a lantern with steady light. These things are ordinary. Their ordinariness makes them strong. They are the kind of things that protect simply because they keep order. They make a home feel like a shelter to the tired. Notice how protection in this story is quiet. It does not shout from rooftops. It shows itself in a hand placed where it steadies, in a gait gently latched, in a path marked with stones so that feet do not slip. This kind of guarding does not erase troubles. It does not promise that no rain will come. It promises the work of keeping safe within the weather. At one point, the sky grows troubled. Wind comes along the ridge. Rain taps on the roof like a slow drum. The keeper takes a lantern and walks the short distance to the animals. The light moves through the dark like a soft pulse. The animals turn their faces toward the light. They know its movement. They know its aim. The keeper checks each gate. The keeper closes a weak door. A hand smooths a blanket over the sleeping. No grand words are needed. The actions themselves are the language of protection. I picture a small child in the story. The child wakes at the sound of the rain and feels a hand on the head. The hand is familiar. It does not ask for proof. It simply rests. The child breathes again with less hurry. The rhythm of the breath changes when a presence stays close. That moment is part of the story's heart. Protection is not always rescue in a dramatic sense. Sometimes it is the steady presence that makes the world safe enough to sleep. The keeper moves from the outer fence inward. Each space is checked with care. A loose post is braced. A lantern is moved closer to the path. A bowl of water is turned away from a draught. The keeper does these things slowly. The pace is intentional. It allows the watcher to see things others might miss. The small repairs add up to calm. I share this in the tone I keep for the night. Slow words, short breaths between phrases. The story is a listening experience more than a plot. A listener can follow it without thinking too much. The scenes are like a row of soft beads slid along a string. Each bead shines in its own small way. Turn them where they lie and notice their warmth. There is a line in the telling that names shelter not as a promise of comfort by measurement, but as a steadiness of presence. The keeper does not argue with the weather. The keeper prepares for it. The keeper stands in the doorway and keeps watch. For the listener, that image may feel like a mattress finally, that bears weight instead of bending under it. The body knows how to let go onto such a thing. I invite a simple exercise now. Picture the room in the story. Find the lamp on the table. Imagine its circle of light. Let the edges of that light grow soft and warm. Breathe in for a count that feels easy. Breathe out and imagine the light moving closer to protect one small worry. Watch that worry sit in the light and become bearable. Repeat once more. The breath and the image work together. They do not demand solutions. They ease the load by giving it a place to rest. Protection here often comes through rhythm. A watch maintained at the fence. A fire kept low through the night. A bowl that does not spill. Rhythm teaches the body. It can trust the night to hold things. The heart learns to slow. The muscles stop their idle vigilance. The mind does not have to patrol every corner. Trust grows like moss in shaded places. It is quiet and persistent. The keeper is also careful with silence. Silence is not emptiness in this tale. It is a fabric under the feet. It holds sound when it needs to, and allows it to pass when it does not. In the silence, small sounds are held as witnesses. The wind, the soft snore of someone asleep, the low creak of settling wood, all belong. the presence that watches honors, that silence. It knows when to speak and when to remain still. There is a brief turning of the scene to morning. The rain eases. The first pale light reaches the eastern field. Birds lift softly from the hedges. The lantern's flame eases into a faint smoke that rises and disappears. The keeper pauses at the threshold and breathes deeply. Work begins anew. But there is a different quality to the day that follows a protected night. Things look as if they were tended. The edges of worry are softened. The world seems workable again. This tidy morning is not the story's goal. It is simply the proof that steady watching bears fruit. The world continues, with trouble and joy. The keeper does not promise a life without storms. The promise is of hands that steady through the storms, and of pathways kept safe enough for slow walking. That kind of promise fits into the smallness of a nightly routine. I bring the story back to the present moment now. Sit with the image of the lantern one more time. Let the light be a small, steady friend by the bedside. Let the notion of a steady watch settle into the shoulders and the lungs. If the heart feels tight, put one hand gently on it and imagine the keeper's hand there. The simple touch need not solve everything. It can simply say, "You are held." A short verse comes to mind from the book I read often at night. It is a reminder that care often looks like tending and leading rather than loud protection. I read it softly to myself and let it rest. The words are not a test. They are a breath. They come to steady rather than to convince. Now, breathe slowly with me twice more. Inhale and gather the small images that feel tender. Exhale and place them into the lamp's circle. Let the breath be a crossbeam of steadiness. Let the ears hold the soft sounds of the room where the reading takes place. Let the body follow the rhythm of the story. I end this telling with a quiet assurance. The night is not a place of reckoning alone. It can be a place of watchful care. The protection offered in the story is practical and close. It is a hand, a bell, a lantern, a mended gate. It is not loud. It simply keeps the way clear. When the eyes become heavy, close them without hurry. If sleep comes slowly, return to the single image of the lamp and the keeper's steady steps. Let the breath keep the pace. If waking happens before the dawn, carry the steady image into those moments. The story is portable. It travels in the pocket of the chest. I lay the book down gently at this point. The page rests open for a moment, then closes. The lamp near the bed stays low. The room holds its soft hush. The story ends here with a small blessing breathed in silence. May the hand that steadies be close tonight. May the lamp keep its circle until morning softens the world. Rest now, in the care that watches without hurry. I open the page slowly. My finger rests on the line I will read. The room listens. My voice moves like a soft tide. I speak of a peace from God. I say it simply. This peace goes beyond our usual reasoning. It is not a tidy answer. It is a steady keeping. It does not argue. It guards the heart and the mind. Hear it as a watching hand. Picture a shepherd moving through the dark. The shepherd knows each sound. The shepherd knows the way each lamb presses close. The care is steady and small. It is made of many small acts. It is not a single grand saving, but a long, faithful tending. Bring to mind a time when you felt protected in that way. I let the question rest. No hurry to answer. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let a memory rise like a soft tide. Maybe it was a night you did not travel alone. Maybe a hand rested on your forehead when fever came. Maybe a neighbor closed the gate and stayed until dawn. Maybe a pastor, a friend, or an unseen kindness kept watch when you could not. Let the image come without pressure. I hold space for it with a quiet voice. I ask you to notice details. Where did you feel warmth? Was it a blanket? A lap? A quiet room? What sound was steady? A clock? A whisper? The slow breath of someone near? Did a light sit low on a table? Steady, like a small star. These little things are windows into the larger care behind them. I kneel beside that memory with words. The piece I read about moves like that care. It is both a presence and a guard. Imagine the shepherd's silhouette moving between moonlit hedges. Each step matters. Each step keeps the flock from wandering into danger. The peace that guards is like that. Step quiet, deliberate, and sure. Place one small worry from your day into the scene. Picture it as a pebble in your palm. It is plain and small. Do not weigh it with argument. Look at it calmly for one breath. Then imagine the shepherd taking it gently and placing it in a safe place. The pebble is not lost. It is seen and kept. The act of placing does not demand proof. It simply quiets the hand that held it. I slow my voice so the scene can sink deeper. The breath follows the words. Your chest moves in slow tides. The mind, often a restless bird, finds a branch and settles. The peace that surpasses understanding is not loud. It is the hush that arrives after the storm's main noise. It feels like a hand smoothing hair from the brow. Notice how the body answers. The jaw eases. The shoulders lower a fraction. The lungs take in a gentler breath. Nerves that clench loosen one by one. The guard over heart and mind works not by forcing the storm away, but by making the inside room quiet enough to rest while the weather passes. Picture the shepherd's staff in the night. It is a simple tool. It keeps a path, nudges a stray lamb, presses gently against a small risk. God's peace keeps the edges of thought like that staff. It does not remove every thorn in the field. It steadies the step so the thorn does not cause a fall. I watch your breathing with a silent care. With each inhale, imagine drawing in a soft pale light. Let it sit behind the heart for a moment. With each exhale, let go of one sharp thought. Breathe in again. This slow rhythm is a small practice. It helps the guard to be visible to you. It helps the mind to become a calm pool. There is comfort in the ordinary things when they are watched over. A bowl placed back on a shelf. A door latched at evening. A warm cup set near the bed. These small acts of tending are the language of protection. They say, without loudness, that someone has seen and kept care. Let those acts stand beside the memory you carry. Sometimes protection arrives as a presence that does not fix everything. It sits, it hums, it stays. Think of a night where the rain comes and an arm wraps around a shoulder. The world outside presses hard, but the immediate circle remains steady. That steadiness allows sleep. That steadiness is the work of the peace I read. The mind often insists on solving. It summons lists and counters every worry with reasons. For a few breaths here, allow the mind to set the lists down. Lay them like small stones on a bench. The peace that guards picks them up with patient hands. You are permitted to rest while that gathering happens. I remind myself as I speak that my role is gentle. I read these words not to fix, but to invite. The invitation is low and persistent. It does not shame wakefulness. It does not promise a swift cure for fear. It promises a watchful presence that keeps the heart and mind from being overrun by their own noise. If a memory of being guarded feels distant, think of a quiet rule of care you can trust. Now, a light you keep low, a friend you will text in the morning, a small rhythm, an evening cup of water, a soft song on low. These are the modern knots on the shepherd's staff. They anchor and steady. Listen as I paraphrase the promise once more. Softly, there is a peace from God that surpasses the grasp of our thinking. It stands as a guard. It watches heart and mind. It does so not with harshness, but with steady keeping. Let that image settle on the shelf of thoughts tonight. I ask you to relive the comforting moment for one more breath. Return to the scene of being watched, of being kept. Notice the small comforts again, the warmth at the neck, the steady sound, the hand that does not pry but rests. Let gratitude, quiet and small, come like dawn through a curtain. Now, for a brief practical step, take 3 slow breaths with me. Inhale and feel the air fill the lower ribs. Hold for the gentlest count that is comfortable. Exhale and imagine placing one worry into the palm of that guarding presence. Repeat 2 more times. The motions are small. The changes are real. As I close this page, I keep the tone low. The promise remains near. I do not demand you understand every part of it. I do not need you to solve the world's troubles in one night. I simply invite you to rest under this watchful peace. Let it be the last thought you hold before sleep. When you feel ready, let the eyes fall closed without hurry. If sleep comes soon, let it take you. If wakefulness remains, return to the shepherd image. Walk the path slowly in imagination. Count the breaths. Name the protections you remember, and place new ones gently into the circle. I tuck the book carefully, and let a soft silence follow. The room keeps the echo of the words like a folded cloth. The peace that guards your heart and mind stays near. I will turn this page again when we continue. For now, rest in that guarding, and let the night do its gentle work. I turn the page with a careful hand. The paper sighs beneath my fingers. My voice keeps its low, steady pace. I speak in the present. I listen with the ears of the heart. Tonight, I bring an invitation. It is soft and simple. It is an invitation to forgive. The word sits easily. It is not loud. It does not shame. It offers a way to put heavy things down. Forgiveness is small work at night. It is not a great verdict. It is a short letting go. Think of a curtain drawn across a window. The curtain does not erase the view. It simply softens the light and makes the room easy to rest in. That is the shape of forgiving at bedtime. Begin with a quiet act. Place one hand on the chest. Feel the slow rise. Feel the slow fall. Name one thing that presses there. Say it in your mind once. Do not weigh it. Speak it like a single pebble spoken into a bowl. The act of naming is gentle and true. Imagine a shallow basin set on a low table. Put that pebble into the basin. The basin holds the shape of the worry or the hurt. It does not judge. It only receives. Picture a steady stream of warm water flowing over the pebble. The water is not hot. It eases. Watch the edges of the stone become less sharp. Watch the color shift. The movement does not remove memory. It simply smooths the edges. Forgiveness often begins with this small washing. It is a cleaning of the hands rather than a wiping of history. The hands that wash do not demand that events change. They only refuse to let bitterness settle into the palm. This is a kind mercy. It frees the body in small, practical ways. Turn that basin toward yourself now. If you carry regret for what you have done or left undone, let that pebble rest in the water as well. Be tender with that peace. The same warm stream passes over it. You are part of the mercy offered. The night allows room for that acceptance. I do not say that forgiveness is simple. It can be slow. Some stones are larger than others. Some wounds need longer tending. This is not a race. The task is like mending a quilt at a bedside by lamplight. Small stitches. Patient hands. Time that moves without hurry. Ich stitch counts. We must also hold a clear thing. Forgiving does not mean pretending injury never happened. It does not erase boundaries. Forgiveness is not the same as saying the harm was okay. It is a choice about how the heart carries the weight. It decides not to let bitterness grow roots. If you worry that forgiving is a loss, picture instead a hand opening. Closed fingers can ache. Open hands breathe. They let air inside. They can hold a small bird without crushing it. The decision to forgive often feels like unclenching. The body learns to feel the difference. Try a brief practice with me. Breathe in slowly. Let that breath reach the belly. Hold it for the smallest comfortable count. Breathe out and imagine the pebble in the basin moving a little toward the drain. Breathe in again. This time, picture a small light at the edge of the basin. It warms the water. Breathe out and let a gentle acceptance touch the shoulder. Repeat once more. The motions are simple. They are enough. Forgiveness also opens space for mercy. Mercy is not a grand law. It is a habit of small generosity. It looks like giving someone a new chance at the table. It looks like allowing yourself to carry less grief about what you cannot change. When mercy and forgiveness meet, the night becomes a place where repair can begin. There may be faces that come to mind as you follow this. A neighbor, a family member, a voice from long ago. Let them come without argument. See them as shapes in the dim. Offer each a pebble and set it carefully into the basin. Some pebbles will remain, some will shift and sink. Allow the movements without forcing them. If anger flares while you do this, do not be surprised. Anger is often the first language of hurt. Let it speak for a moment. Then hand it to the water. Let the flow be steady and patient. Anger will not vanish in a single night. But its edges can soften if it is allowed into the basin where it can be seen and tended. Forgiving yourself may feel different from forgiving others. It sometimes takes longer. There may be habits of blame that are stubborn. Treat them as you would an old friend who needs gentle guidance home. Speak to them softly. Place their pebble beside the others. Keep the basin warm. Give time for the water to work. There is a practical mercy that helps this process. Keep a small notebook by the bed. If sleep is loose and the mind is busy, write one sentence about the thing you are leaving in the basin. No explanation necessary. A single line. Fold the paper and place it under the pillow, if that comforts. The act brings the heart from the abstract into a small, manageable shape. Sometimes forgiveness is shared. When it is safe and possible, say a short word to the one who hurt you. It need not be public. It can be a quiet, honest sentence spoken in a private place when the time is right. But do not demand that the other person change. Your work is the handing over of a weight. The other may accept, may not. Your peace does not depend entirely on their response. I read a short passage in my mind that fits here. It is not long. It is not meant to settle every question. It simply points to the work of letting go and of being freed. Let those words sit like a small stone in the palm. Feel its weight. Then release it into the basin. As you practice this, notice the body's language. The throat may unclench. The shoulders may fall. The hands stop rehearsing old defenses. These small changes matter. They teach the nervous system that danger is not always imminent. They allow sleep to come more easily. Do one last tidy act before this part ends. Bring both hands together for a moment. Press the heels of the palms lightly. Imagine the basin between them. Name once aloud or in your mind what you place there. Then separate the hands and lay one gently over the heart. Let the other rest on the thigh. Breathe slowly. The placement is a small seal on the practice. Forgiveness will sometimes need to be repeated. Return to the basin as often as the heart asks. There is no shame in returning. The night welcomes the repeated attempts. Each time you set a pebble down, you make a small reclamation of peace. I do not promise a sudden end to sorrow. I promise a method of handling it that tends toward restoration. The night becomes a workshop for mending, not a field of final battles. The work is humble and steady. It changes the way the day can begin. Now I close the book for a moment and let the room hold the image. The basin sits on the table. A soft stream keeps the pebbles from resting too long. The water is warm. The light is low. Before sleep, offer one short inward prayer. Ask for the courage to leave one weight in the basin. Ask for the patience to let water do its slow work. Ask for the grace to forgive yourself as you forgive another. Keep the prayer simple and steady. When the eyes grow heavy, let them close. If the mind stirs again, return to the pebble and the basin. Repeat the breath. Place another pebble if need be. The practice is portable. It travels in the chest. I tuck the book in place and let the lamp dim a fraction. The night is quiet, and the invitation remains. Forgiveness is offered without hurry. Take it in small, steady steps. Let mercy and rest follow. When morning comes, the heart will be a little lighter, and the world will seem a little more manageable. This part ends in that small piece. I will come back to the book soon. For now, rest with the basin and the warm stream. Allow the work of forgiving to be gentle and real. Sleep when you are ready. I stay here in the hush until the breath claims the night. I turn the page again. The heading reads Colossians. I let the word settle like a small bell. My voice stays low. The light stays soft. The room listens. I do not read long arguments tonight. I take a few short lines and let them become images. The letter speaks in plain things. It uses clothes and home. It uses careful acts. I like that. They fit the hour. I begin with the image of a wardrobe. Open it in your mind. The hangers hold simple garments. Each piece has a name. Compassion hangs next to kindness. Humility rests beside gentleness. Patience folds quietly on a low shelf. These are not fancy garments. They are the ones you wear when the day asks for tenderness. I speak of putting on such clothes. I ask us to imagine it slowly. I reach into the closet for compassion. My fingers brush the fabric. It is soft and warm. I lift it and feel the weight of a small kindness. I draw it over the shoulders. The feel is like the first warm blanket of winter. The shoulders want to slump. They hold their place. The garment does not fix everything. It steadies what is worn. Next, I take up kindness. I imagine its sleeve sliding down my arm. Kindness does not glow. It only covers the places that are raw. It does not produce applause. It makes small moves easier. A hand lifts more readily when wearing it. Humility is a simple shirt. It is not thin with timidity. It is quiet strength. It lets space for another voice. It lets the neck rest when pride wants to brace. I smooth it flat with both hands. I notice the small thing that changes. The jaw relaxes. The head tilts less toward defense. A small freedom opens. Patience is a long scarf. I wrap it twice. Slow and steady. The ends drape like steady ropes. They remind the body to remain. Patience loosens the need for immediate change. It keeps the rhythm of waiting without panic. I do not force the imagery. I breathe with each action. Inhale and imagine lifting a sleeve. Exhale and notice the change. The breath carries the picture into the bones. There is another garment I do not overlook. It is thankfulness. I fold it like a shawl and lay it over my lap. The fabric warms when held. It does not insist that trouble vanish. It simply brings light to small things. A cup of tea, a steady lamp, a hand that reached out. These are small things, but they alter the night. I slow my voice further and ask a small question aloud in the quiet of my own breath. Who might I dress in forgiveness tonight? My thought moves not to long lists, but to the nearest shape of hurt. I name that shape gently in my mind. I imagine placing a soft coat on it and closing the door to bitter wind. Forgiveness, here is a practical garment. It does not pretend the bruise is gone. It keeps the bruise from swelling with each night's worry. Colossians suggests that love holds all these clothes together. I picture love as a wide belt. I fasten it low across the waist. The belt is not harsh. It is the only piece that keeps every other garment in place. With that belt, compassion and kindness do not slip. Humility and patience sit steady. Love ties them all into one whole. The body learns to move differently when all is secured. The letter also suggests that peace should rule in the heart. I do not speak of rule like an iron decree. I imagine a soft ribbon worn like a sash across the chest. It sits there as a quiet governor. When thoughts rise like storm winds, the ribbon guides them back into a calmer course. The rule of peace is like a hand on the shoulder. It does not throw out the clouds. It keeps the inside room quiet enough to sleep. I invite a brief practice now. Place an image of each garment in your mind. See the wardrobe. Choose one to wear first. Breathe in, as if putting it on. Breathe out and feel the fabric rest. Move through 3 garments. Let the body register the small differences. The motions are brief. Their sum is steady. There is another gentle instruction in the letter. It says to set the mind on things above. Do not worry about fine doctrine here. Think instead of a small window above your bed. It opens toward a clear sky. A few slow stars hang there. When the mind wants to chase small anxieties, it can lift its gaze to that window. The stars are quiet because they do not shout. They do not solve immediate trouble. They remind us of a steadier frame. Tonight I ask us to make a tiny altar of thankfulness beside the bed. Take 3 small things to name. Say them softly in your mind. They may be a smell, a sound, a brief kindness. They may be a sturdy table or a stranger's smile. Name them simply. Lay them as if placing 3 stones on a small shelf. The stones do not make the mountain go away. They are tokens that steady a heart. Colossians also speaks about letting the message dwell richly among the people. I imagine that message as a soft book with worn edges. It rests under the pillow like a talisman. It does not press with urgency. It holds a few lines of care. Let it be there for mornings when forgetting feels easy. Its presence is a quiet invitation to return. No hurry allowed. I read these thoughts with a calm steadiness. I do not instruct hard actions. I offer suggestions like small lamps along a corridor. They light the way without demanding speed. Take any lamp that appeals. Carry it for a moment. If it feels awkward, set it down and try another. There is a passing instruction to do everything in gratitude. I do not ask for grand displays. I suggest small acts before sleep. Tuck the hands under the chin for a moment and give thanks for one simple kindness. Thank quietly in your own voice. It does not need to be elaborate. A single, honest word is enough. The act repeats like a stitch. Over time, the stitches hold the garment of the night together. If resistance comes, do not be alarmed. Some nights the garments feel heavy. Some nights the belt of love feels one too many layers. That is human. If that happens, choose a single item. Wear it alone for a while. Allow the single garment to be enough for tonight. Later, more pieces may be welcomed. I encourage a small bedtime ritual. Dress in a garment. Place the ribbon of peace across the chest. Name 3 thankful stones. Tuck the small book under the pillow. Say a short, inward prayer of thanks. Not long, not ornate. Just a quiet admission that you accept this care. I remind myself as I speak that I am reading these things to you. Not to correct. My role is companion. I hold the lamp for a while. I do not demand compliance. I invite practice. The night keeps its slow work. The garments I suggest travel lightly. They fit into the folds of ordinary living. They do not need perfect faith to function. They ask only for small steps. A single breath. A sangulgama. A single stone set down. Now I fold the imagery gently. I close the wardrobe in the mind. I leave the garments on. I keep the belt fastened. The ribbon of peace rests where the heart can feel it. The small book sits under the pillow like a soft promise. Before I close the page, I offer a short blessing in the quiet of my thoughts. May these garments warm you. May the belt of love hold what needs holding. May the ribbon of peace guide restless thoughts. May the small stones of gratitude keep company with you through the night. I shut the book slowly. The lamp throws a small pool of light on the bedside. The room breathes with us. The images remain available if the mind wanders. They are tools for sleep and for gentleness. When you are ready, settle the head on the pillow. Breathe in the feel of the garment you chose. Breathe out and let the night take its sweet, slow work. I stay a little while longer with the quiet. The next page waits. For now, rest in the clothes of compassion and the soft rule of peace. I open the book and let the night breathe. The page reads of grace upon grace. I let those words settle like a soft promise. Mu voice moves slowly. I speak as one who reads the Bible at bed. The tone stays quiet. The aim is comfort. Grace is layered in the picture I hold tonight. It is not a single light. It is many lights, one on top of another. Think of morning after morning. One thin wash of dawn follows another until the room is full. Each thin wash does not replace the last. It builds on it. The light deepens without hurry. I invite a small image. Picture a small bowl on a table. A ladle pours warm water. One cup fills the bowl. Another cup pours. Each pour does not wash the first away. The bowl grows warmer. The bowl holds more. The hand that pours does not measure merit. It only pours. Grace arrives like that. First grace comes in a small rescue. Then another comes the next night. They do not compete. They rest together. The soul learns to receive them one by one, little by little. The heart becomes softer where it was once hard. You have carried burdens. Some are recent. Some are old. There are cracks where shame leaks through. Grace does not fix all cracks at once. It finds one place at a time. It rests there. Then it moves to the next. The motion is gentle and steady. It resembles a seamstress who mends a quilt at the bedside, stitch by stitch. One way to know grace is to notice what it does to the body. Shoulders unknot. The jaw eases. The breath lengthens a degree. This is not dramatic. It is practical. Grace changes posture more than proof. It changes how a person sits in a room of trouble. It teaches rest. I ask you to sit or lie where you are. Place a hand where it comes easiest. Breathe slowly. Inhale soft. Exhale slow. Picture a thin light entering through the curtain. Let that light land on one place of your body where tension stays. Imagine that light is grace. Let it rest there. Do not force a feeling. Let a small warmth grow. Now imagine a second thin light joining the first. It does not outshine. It complements. The two lights make a wider warmth. Think of names that matter to you. Maybe a kindness someone did. Maybe a morning you did not expect. Let each small favor be a thin light. One by one, gather them around the place that feels weary. See how the warmth widens. This is grace upon grace. The first mercies prepare the heart for more. The second mercies find cracks the first could not reach. Or a team? The assembled lights become a steady lamp. That lamp is not a solution to every fear. It is a companion. It steadies the hand when days are sharp. Grace moves between people as well. It shows itself in small acts of bearing one another's faults. Think of a neighbor who forgave without parade. Think of a friend who stayed without offering explanation. Those acts are threads. They weave into a covering that holds a community. When we bear one another, we practice receiving grace together. Bearing each other can be practical. It looks like holding the door. It looks like listening when the story is incomplete. It looks like letting a conversation end, even when answers seem desirable. The practice is small. Its effect is large. It creates a space where faults may be seen and not used as weapons. Forgiving is part of this flow. It is a small release, more than a triumphant speech. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It means choosing not to keep the wound as a daily weight. See this as setting down a stone that has pressed the shoulder for too long. The stone does not vanish. It is simply put somewhere that does not weigh down the path. If you find it hard to forgive, begin small. Name one thing softly. Place it in the light you have gathered. Do not demand immediate peace. Let the light work slowly. Breathe. And imagine the weight shifting from your hands to a place where it will not bend you every hour. Repeat this for yourself. Repeat it for another. Grace follows that gentle doing. There is another image I like for grace. Imagine a river that flows over stones. The first stones are sharp. The water smooths them a little. As it flows, the stones become pebbles. Years of flow do not remove the stone's history. They smooth the edges. The river does not hurry. The stone learns to be less injurious. Grace is like that river. It moves through the long course. We often feel unworthy of such steady kindness. The mind can tally failures. The heart can rehearse reasons to be small. Grace does not demand a spotless ledger. It asks only for a hand that will open to receive. The act of opening is itself a kind of faith. It is small and sufficient for the night. Practice with me briefly. Breathe in and feel a small welcome. Breathe out and let go of one immediate blame. Breathe in again and say, in your mind, I receive. Breathe out and place that breath over the heart like a cloth. Repeat this 3 times. The movements are gentle. They make a path for grace to work. Grace also invites giving. When the chest has a little room, look at one person who carries a hardness toward you. Picture placing a thin covering over that hardness. It does not excuse harmful behavior. It only refuses to add bitterness to the pile. To give grace often changes the giver more than the receiver. The hands that release grow lighter. I remember a quiet evening when someone forgave without announcement. The morning after, the world looked easier to enter. Small courtesies returned to their old places. The memory of that mercy stays like a lamp on the shelf. It is a practical proof that grace travels and stays. I keep that memory for nights when the world feels heavy. There is a gentle truth here. Grace never runs out when it is shared. The more it comes to the bedside, the stronger the habit of receiving becomes. Habit, in this case, is a good worker. It trains the body to expect not only its own strength, but also the help of others and the quiet generosity of God. If doubts arise, do not wrestle them into the dark. Bring them into the light you build. Let them be held. They do not have to be answered now. Let the light be patient. Do not ask for explanations. Ask for presence. Presence is often the practical form of grace. I give a short blessing now in the hush. May grace meet you where you are tonight. May small mercies find the thorny places. May the habit of receiving grow simple and sure. May the courage to give grace soften your hands. Let these be not loud transformations, but steady ones. When you feel the eyes grow heavy, let them close. If sleep comes, welcome it. If wakefulness stays, return to the lights and the bowl and the flowing river. Use the breathing practice again. Say the quiet word of receiving. Place one small act of bearing into the mind and let it rest. I lay the book gently down. The lamp keeps a narrow circle of light. The room breathes with a softer rhythm. Part 9 closes with the promise of one more night, warmed by many small mercies. Grace comes again. And again. It comes until the heart learns to hold it without fear. Rest. Now, the night will keep adding its gentle layers. I will read again when the hour comes. For now, receive grace upon grace, and sleep in that steady light. I turn to a short line in Ephesians, and let it sit between us like a small, wrapped parcel. I say the reference softly. The thought lands. It is simple. It needs no arguing here. I tell you what the line invites. Grace is a gift. It arrives without invoice. It comes without a list of conditions. The hand that offers does not measure what you did. The hand only gives. Imagine a small wooden bench by a quiet door. On the bench rests a wrapped package. The gift is not hidden. It waits. You do not have to prove yourself to take it. You do not have to polish your shoes or tidy your speech. The simple act is to step close and accept. I put my hand over my heart as I speak. Feel the slow rise and fall beneath the palm. Picture that gift sitting now on your lap. The wrapping is soft. The tie is loose. There is no need to fumble with complicated knots. The giver expects only that the gift be received. Receiving a gift changes the body. It is small and practical. Shoulders lower. The neck softens. A tight jaw eases a degree. These are tiny, grateful miracles. They do not shout. They simply shift the body's weight from strain to openness. This gift is not earned by effort. That idea can be a heavy stone people carry for years. Tonight, set that stone down beside the bench. It is okay to leave it there. The gift wants no weighing or tallying. It wants to be taken and held. I invite a small practice. Now, breathe in through the nose for a quiet count that feels natural. Let the lungs fill gently. Hold the breath for the smallest comfortable pause. Breathe out slowly. Imagine yourself leaning forward to touch the gift. Take one more breath. Lift the wrapping and let it fall away. Inside, there is a simple thing. It might be a warm scarf. It might be a small written note. It might be a cool hand that rests without questioning. The content of the gift is not the point. The point is the receiving. The act of opening transforms the night. If worry whispers that you are not worthy, do not argue with that whisper. Notice it like a bird near a window. The bird is visible and small. Offer the bird the same kindness you offer the gift. Let the bird be there, and do not let it drive you from the bench. Stay. Keep the gift in your hands. Grace, as I read it now, makes room inside. It is not a loud rearranging. It is like a chair pulled out beside a fire. The chair is for you. It is placed without your having to ask. Sit. Let the heat reach your face. Let the chest relax into the support of wood and cushion. Sometimes the mind wants to trade work for rest. It imagines a ledger where good deeds buy sleep. Tonight, I close the ledger for a few minutes. I set a candle on its page and let the flame steady. No list gets resolved by that candle, but the light softens the edges where anxiety clings. There is a freedom in this. It is a gentle unburdening. You may carry responsibilities in the morning. That is true and practical. For now, let the heavy idea that worth is earned take a rest. Let the gift sit without accounting. Let the breath show what rest can be. I speak of faith in a very simple way. Faith is the hand that takes the gift. It does not have to be loud or sophisticated. It can be as small as a finger that closes around the ribbon. Faith permits acceptance. Faith lets a tired person stop striving just long enough to be cared for. If doubt comes as a cold breeze, wrap the scarf from the gift around the shoulders. The warmth does not force belief into a neat shape. It simply makes the chest less tense. From there, breathing is easier. From there, a heart that has been braced may soften enough to sleep. Grace reaches through people. 2. Someone may have been kind to you without ceremony. Someone may have quietly carried what you could not bear. These acts are small gifts that weave into a larger habit of mercy. Notice one such moment and place it beside the parcel on the bench. Let the two sit together. I keep my sentences short on purpose. There is no need for long theology now. The night asks for images the body can hold, a wrapped gift, a warm chair, a scarf around the shoulders. These things the body remembers even when the head grows busy. If there is anger about how life has been unfair, do not push it away with force. Give it a place at the door. Offer it tea in a small cup. Let it be witnessed. Then, with a gentle motion, rest the gift in both hands and let the heat of it soften the anger's edge. You do not deny reality by receiving grace. You change how you carry it. For those who have long worked to earn love, receiving may feel strange. The muscles in the chest will protest at first. They were trained to keep score. Let them unwind a little with each breath. Practice taking the gift 3 times. Breathe in. Lift the parcel. Touch the content. Breathe out. Repeat once more. Each time, allow a small portion of the chest to unclench. There is no hurry here. The gift keeps patiently. It waits through the slow ritual. The giver does not rush. The gift grows more natural in the hands, the more it is allowed to be held. I remind myself of stories. I know small moments when someone accepted kindness they never thought themselves entitled to. The morning after, they moved differently. Tasks did not feel like burdens in the same sharp way. The space around them softened. This is the practical fruit of receiving mercy. Grace also calls for a gentle sharing. When the chest has room, place the scarf from the gift onto another set of shoulders. Offer a small thing without demand. The act of giving extends the gift's reach. It does not solve every problem. It builds a habit of care that steadies a community. The counsel in the verse I read is not an instruction to idle. It is an invitation to let the heart rest enough to work kindly. Rest and work are not enemies. Rest replenishes the hands that do the day's tasks. It is a practical economy. Receive, then act from fullness. As this part draws toward a close, take a final slow breath with me. Inhale and imagine the wrapped gift becoming warm in the hands. Exhale and let appreciation, small and honest, settle somewhere near the sternum. Do this twice more. Make no demands on the feeling. Let it be what it is. I lay the book gently back on my lap. The lamp beside the bed keeps a soft circle of light. The parcel on the bench is still there in the mind. The gift waits for more evenings, if it is needed. It has no timetable. When the eyes grow heavy, close them without hurry. If sleep arrives, let it take you. If wakefulness stays, return to the simple image of the gift and the bench. Touch the wrapping again. Breathe. Receive. I end this section with purpose. The notion that grace is a gift is not meant to complicate. It is meant to simplify the night. Let the truth rest in you like a quiet thing. I will read again another night. For now, take the gift and rest in it. I begin a story now. It is a quiet story. It moves slowly, like the tide at evening. My voice keeps its low, steady pace. The book rests in my hands. The lamp beside the bed makes a small pool of light. The main figure is ordinary. She keeps a small shop, or perhaps a small room where cloth is mended. Her name is not important here. What matters is the shape of her days. Dawn brings chores. Evening brings careful repairs. Hands grow worn. The face carries lines of worry and of work. The heart keeps a long, quiet adieu. One evening, she finds a letter folded in an old coat. The coat is one that has been mended many times. The letter smells faintly of rain. She does not expect much from a piece of paper, yet the paper becomes the turning point of a slow story. The letter is short. It contains no demands. It only holds a memory and a mercy. It names a small kindness once given. It remembers a time when someone sat by the window and listened. That memory does not erase hard years. It does not tidy the ledger of mistakes. It simply reminds her of being seen. Being seen changes things very little at first. Shoulders do not drop in a dramatic sweep, but a small muscle in the neck relaxes. The breath lengthens an inch. These small bodily shifts are the beginning of a deeper movement. Grace sometimes begins like that. It starts where the body can notice it. She begins to keep a small lamp beside the work table. The lamp is not bright. It offers a steady, warm circle of light. The seamstress works by that light. The light is more than a tool. It is a companion. Each stitch made under that glow feels less hurried. The hands slow. The chest follows. A neighbor brings a loaf one afternoon. The loaf is not much. It is dense and warm. It sits on the table like a small gift. The neighbor does not ask for thanks. They stay a little while and hum softly. Their presence is the kind of grace that does not posture. It simply is. The seed of trust grows where the visit lays. The woman remembers other nights. There were sharp words and small betrayals. There were moments when the world felt too heavy to carry. Yet the memory of being noticed by eyes that did not judge acts like a balm. It does not debug the past. It smooths the way forward. It teaches a weary heart that being held is possible again. I read a short verse softly as I tell this. The verse speaks of being forgiven and of a light that does not go out. It need not be argued. It sits in the chest like a small promise. The promise is not of immediate repair to everything. It is of company and the work of repair. That company grows into a steady hand. Soon she begins to open the door at dawn for others who need a place to sit. A kettle is set on the small stove. The act is modest. People come and take the edge off hunger with bread and conversation. The shop becomes a small harbor. No speeches are made. No doctrines are debated. Hands are given cups. Times of listening are offered without claim. As the days pass, one small kindness follows another. A boy helps mend a torn sleeve. An old friend brings extra thread. A neighbor fixes a broken step. These are not grand rescues. They are practical stitches in a fraying life. They do not remove every fear. They do make the load lighter to carry each morning. Grace is never loud in this telling. It arrives as steady presence, as a shared loaf, as a warm lamp. It transforms not by force, but by repetition. Little by little the woman learns to accept help. The habit of accepting is itself a small redemption. It rewires the body's habit to brace. Redemption in the story looks like a changed rhythm. She wakes with less of a knot in the throat. Her hands move without the same anxious tension. The eyes that once darted toward every possible fault now rest on small good things. The body learns a new way to breathe. The heart learns a new way to receive. One night, the woman remembers an old debt. Her chest tightens. The mind rehearses failures like an old song. I speak my voice slow and gentle into that memory. I do not erase the ledger. I only lay beside it the image of the basin and the warm water. The basin has room. No shame prevents the hand from washing there. Forgiveness in the story is practical. It is not given in a single moment of grand speech. It comes in a dozen small acts of returning what can be returned, of saying a short word of apology in a private place, of accepting a reply that is simple and kind. These acts do not pretend away pain. They rearrange the burden into something bearable. I remind the listener now to breathe. A deep breath helps the eyes to quiet. The scene holds a cup of tea, set down gently. Steam rises, and the aroma is nothing dramatic. It is simply calming. The tea warms the hands. The hands relax. Grace is like warm tea on a night when chill has crept under the cloak. The woman keeps an old quilt that she mends slowly. Each patch represents a story. Some pieces are bright, some are frayed and thin. She stitches the quilt with the same careful hand she uses to stitch other things. The quilt grows whole again in small stages. Redemption looks like that patient mending, stitch by stitch, until the whole can cover a bed once more. Neighbors begin to sleep more easily. They know someone watches in the late hours who will tend to small needs. The town learns to hold less suspicion and more willingness to bear one another's load. The habit of mercy spreads quietly. It does not demand conversion. It asks only for small, steady acts. I ask the listener to imagine one small act they might accept tonight. It could be allowing a lamp to stay on, or setting a cup of water near the bed, or emailing a friend in the morning. The acts are tiny. They are nevertheless significant. They practice the muscle of receiving mercy. That muscle is the hinge on which many nights swing toward rest. The woman in the story is not suddenly whole. There are still hard mornings. There are still nights when the mind runs fast. But there is now a pattern of small blessings. These gather like pebbles in a bowl. Over time, the bowl fills enough that it changes how weight rests on the hands. I close the book for a moment and breathe with the image. The lamp glows on the table. The quilt lies folded. The basin sits warm and quiet. The story settles like a soft cloth across the knees. Before sleep, a simple prieurrise. Short and unadorned, it is a whisper in the mind. It asks for courage to accept small kindnesses. It asks for patience in the work of mending. It asks for the grace to give back. In time, what was freely given. The prayer does not argue. It rests. I offer a gentle blessing now. May mercy find you in small forms. May grace come like warm water on a weary evening. May the habit of receiving soften the chest and steady the hands. May redemption be patient with you, working in tiny stitches until the whole is easier to hold. When the eyes feel heavy, close them without hurry. If sleep arrives, welcome it as part of the mending. If wakefulness lingers, return to the lamp and the bowl and the quilt. Let the breath be the slow stitch that binds the night. I set the book down gently. The lamp keeps a small circle of light a little while longer. The next part waits. For now, rest in the quiet story of grace and of slow redemption. I remain with you until sleep leads the way. I set the book down a little lower on my lap. The room breathes with me. The night feels near and soft. I speak slowly. My words sit like warm stones on still water. Tonight I turn to John's quiet promise. I do not quote it in full. I give it shape instead. Jesus leaves his peace. He offers that peace to the one who is tired. He asks that the heart not be troubled. He asks that fear be kept at bay. Hear that as an invitation. Hear it as an offer rather than a demand. I read the Bible to you before sleep. That is the work I keep. I read with patience. The aim is calm. My voice is not trying to prove. It only tries to hold a steady line. Picture your chest as a small room. The room has a low table and a single chair. The chair is empty when you first come in. The windows have a thin frost around the edges. Outside, the world is busy. Inside, there is room to sit. Now imagine peace entering that room. It does not have a trumpet. It does not rush. It stands in the doorway like a guest who knows your name. It takes off a heavy coat and lays it across the back of the chair. The coat is not heavy by intention. It simply needed a place to rest. Peace sits down. It does not demand an explanation for what you carry. It only sits. When peace sits, the small sounds in the room change. The tick of the clock slows a little. The air seems thicker, with patience. A thin snowfall sounds in the mind. That sound is muffling rather than alarming. It softens edges. The night sharpness becomes a gentle hush. I ask you to try a small practice with me. Place one hand over your heart. Keep the other hand resting where it is easy. Close the jaw if that feels right. Breathe in slowly. Let the breath reach all the way down to the ribs. Hold for the smallest comfortable count. Breathe out and imagine the breath carrying a single tight thought toward the window. See it fall like a small flake on the sill. Watch it rest there without needing to be swept away. Repeat once more. Inhale. Take in a small heap of quiet. Let your chest lengthen. Exhale and watch one worry land on the sill. Notice that the worry does not dance. It sits. It is not removed by force. It is simply observed and given a place to be still. Peace that Jesus leaves is like that. It does not promise that everything becomes easy at once. It promises a presence that makes the inside room safe enough to let the muscles unclench. Peace is a companion that steadies the hand when the day has been hard. It is a breath that returns the heart to a softer pace. There is another image I keep for this kind of peace. Picture snow on a path at dusk. Footprints slow the path. The snow does not plaster over them all at once. It lays down quietly and evens the sound. The crunch underfoot becomes less urgent. You can walk without fearing every crack. The peace that is given makes the path gentle enough to follow. even when it is not smooth. Do not force understanding. Do not try to tidy every thought now. The night does not require answers. It needs presence. Let the small peace settle like a light dusting. It will not erase what must be faced, but it will change how the facing feels. I often remind myself of a simple truth as I read at night. The offer of peace is personal. It comes across the distance like a hand set down on the edge of the bed. There is no lecture. There is a steadying touch, accepting that touch does not require perfect faith. It requires only a small assent, like turning a face toward warmth. If the mind protests, if worry speaks in a loud voice, do not meet it with argument. Instead, notice the tone and the urgency. Name it once in your mind. Say, simply, I hear you. Then let your attention move back to the breath. The breath is a tool that does not fight. It only returns the mind to a quieter register. There is a practical way to make room for this peace. Pick a single object near your bed. It can be a small stone, a folded cloth, or a watch. Place it on the bedside table where you can see it. Let it be a marker, a simple reminder that this time is for resting. When worry returns, look at the object. Breathe in, breathe out. Remember the guest who sits in the chair. I read the Bible to you before sleep because I want these small practices to be gentle and doable. The pages I choose are not meant to exhaust your thought. They are meant to accompany the tired. They are small and steady companions in the dark minutes. Let us imagine one more scene together. Picture a porch with two chairs. One chair holds you. The other is empty, but waiting. Peace takes the empty seat. No words pass. The two of you sit in the quiet. The breeze comes slow. The night sounds are distant and polite. In that company, the mind can let down its guard. The body learns a new posture for the hours ahead. A final, short practice before we rest deeper. Breathe in for a steady count that feels natural. Hold one small beat. Breathe out slowly and imagine a door in the chest closing gently. Not locked, not frozen, just closed for the night. Let the muscles under the collarbone relax. Let the shoulders drop another fraction. Keep this rhythm for 3 breaths. The motions are tiny. Their effect is real. I do not ask for neatness in your life. I do not ask for quick fixes. I only invite you to let the offered peace be a shelter tonight. Accept it as you would, a warm cloak on a chilly evening. Wear it without needing to justify the warmth. If sleep comes now, let it take you. Sleep will use the peace you accept. It will work on the small repairs you cannot do awake. If wakefulness lingers, stay with the simple images we held the small room. The chair. The guest who sits without judgment. Return to the breathing practice. Keep the hand on the heart. Let the quiet be enough. I close these lines with a soft blessing in my mind. May the peace that was promised find its way into your small room tonight. May it sit beside you without demand. May it steady the breath and soften the shoulders. May fear lose its urgency long enough for rest to come. I set the book down now and keep my voice low. The night continues in its slow work. I will read again when the time comes. For now, Allow the peace to rest where it sits. Let it hold you until morning nudges the day awake. I keep the lamp low and my voice slow. I sit where the book can rest on my lap. I speak as one who reads the Bible to you before sleep. Tonight, I ask a gentle question. Where did you sense God today? I do not ask for grand visions. I ask for small witness. I invite quiet memory. The day can be crowded. Still, brief moments can hold much. Begin with breath. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out. Let the breath be a soft lens. Use it to look back over the day. See it as a single ribbon you can unroll. Notice the small places where warmth touched you. I offer my own moments first. I do this not to set a rule, but to give a shape to the exercise. Today, I walked a short path near an old fence. Dew lay on the grass, like tiny glass beads. Light hit them and made small. Steady sparks. I did not have words for it then. I only stopped. My feet stood still. My chest loosened. That small pause felt like a presence. Later, a neighbor crossed the street with a bag of bread. Their eyes softened in passing. No sermon, no long talk, a look that held care. The grocery bag was light to carry in my hand. The care was heavier in a good way. It settled the mind. I noticed a hush inside. That husverdle grosse. I sat with a cup of tea this afternoon. The steam rose in a steady column. A slow scent moved through the room. For a moment the mind was not listing tasks. The tea was simply warm in my hands. The warmth felt like a hand laid near the heart. I sensed company there. At noon I looked up through a skylight. Clouds moved in quiet bands. A single bird crossed the gap, and then vanished. The motion was small and ordinary, yet I felt less hurried afterward. I could feel presence, sitting with me in the small, moving things. Before evening, a short note arrived from an old friend. The message was brief and kind. I read it twice. Each reading eased the chest, a notch. It was as if a thin cord pulled a knot loose. The knot was not gone, but the space around it changed. I named that as a moment of mercy. I offer these not to boast. I offer them to show how tender presence can be. It often comes soft. It comes wrapped in ordinary tasks and small mercies. It does not always arrive with fireworks. Now I invite you to name 3 moments from your own day. Keep the list small. 3 is enough. Let them be particular. A single face. A sound. A taste. A pause at a red light. A hand that held the door. No judgment. No need for drama. Just notice. If it helps, place your hand on the chest as you remember. Feel the heartbeat under the palm. Let that rhythm be a witness to memory. Breathe in and call up the first moment. Breathe out and let any hurry fall away. Do this twice more for the second and third moments. One practice is to give each memory a short name. A name acts like a pebble. You can hold later. Call the morning light dawn's hush. Call the friend's note a small tether. Call the neighbor's bread a quiet delivery. These small names make the memories portable. Carry them into the night. Presence often shows in nature. A cloud. A leaf. A single star. The forms are simple They do not require theological skill to notice. They ask only for attention. If you walked past a tree today, remember its bark, its smell, a small insect moving along it. Let that be a trace of the divine in a living thing. Presence also shows in other people a brief apology, a soft correction, a hand that waits, a silence that listens. These acts do not fix everything. They make the evening gentler. They carry a steadiness that can rest on a weary shoulder. Sometimes presence is found in failure and in sorrow. A small mercy may come as the courage to name a wound. It might arrive as someone who refuses to add to the shame. The moment might be thin and not obvious. It still counts. It still carries light. I read scripture tonight with those small moments in mind. The Bible is a book that remembers ordinary things. It keeps stories of fields and kitchens, of lamps and hands. When I read, I watch how those images echo what you and I have met today. The words on the page often meet the day's small events like an old friend. Try this short practice. Sit still for 3 breaths. With each inhale, call a single memory to mind. With each exhale, give thanks for that memory. The thanks may be a word or a quiet note in your mind. The act of noticing and naming helps the body receive the presence as real. If memory does not easily offer 3 moments, begin with 1. 1 is enough. A single small instance can teach the heart to look. It can be a place to begin a habit. Ask a simple question now. Where did kindness find me? Where did a sense of wonder touch me? Where did I feel less alone? These are not tests. They are invitations to notice where the divine appears in the day's shape. I do not ask for dramatic signs. I ask for the small, steady things. The way light sits on a windowsill in the late afternoon. The brief calm after a decision is made. The sound of rain on a roof. The way a child's laugh breaks through worry. These are the language of presence for most nights. There are times when presence feels hidden. The day may be heavy, and sight may be dim. In such nights, remember a single memory from a kinder season. Let that memory be a lantern for this evening. Bring it close. Let it warm the palm of the heart. Another gentle practice is to keep a small jar beside the bed. Each night place a slip of paper with 1 remembered moment inside. Do not make a list of the whole life. Put 1 short line in the jar and close it. Over weeks the jar fills. In darker nights empty it and read a single slip. The accumulated moments show that presence is not only possible, it is frequent. I often do this myself with a quiet notebook. A single line, a date, a faint memory. Later, when sleep is thin, the notes remind me that presence comes in many guises. The habit reshapes the eyes to find more of those guises. Pay attention also to the small ways Scripture meets your day. A verse that once felt distant may touch a corner of your life tonight. A parable about seeds, or a line about light, may echo a small event from the afternoon. Notice the echo. Let the scriptures and the day's moments converse in your mind. They often complete one another. Present noticing is not a forced happiness. It does not deny trouble. It makes space for both presence and pain. Think of it as opening a window in a closed room. The fresh air does not remove the weight of the furniture. It moves the air It changes the feel. If anger or grief sits heavy, do not rush them away with quick gratitude. Allow them room. Name them. Then ask quietly if there is even one small counterpoint, a hand held, a word that did not hurt, a brief feed of birds at the sill. Let the counterpoint sit alongside the grief like a small wildflower in the same vase. Tonight, I read scripture to you not to solve the world's troubles. I read to train the ear to hear the soft presence. The Bible's pages are full of ordinary scenes. They teach the eyes to see the sacred in small things. They teach the hands to hold mercy in daily act. Before this section ends, place one hand over your heart. Take 3 slow breaths. With each breath, name one moment from today where presence appeared. However small, say the name softly in your mind. Hold each for a beat. Let each memory rest as if on a shelf. Then, inquit. Give thanks for the presence. The thanks can be small. A single sentence or a silent bow will do. The act is not to make God prove anything. It is to train the heart to notice and to be a little more open tomorrow. I close with a short blessing in the hush of the room. May you see presence in small things tonight. May the memory of 2 or 3 soft moments follow you into sleep. May they keep you company when the dark feels wide. May the Bible's quiet images meet your day's small mercies and teach you to recognize the one who signs them with care. When you are ready, rest the head. Let the breath keep its slow work. I will read again on the next page. For now, carry these small memories as lanterns. Let them shine their gentle light until morning. I open the book and let the line sit between us. Romans 1:5-1:3 comes as a small, steady promise. I say it softly. May God fill you with joy and peace as you trust. Trust is the thing I hold tonight. I consider trust as a foundation for a life that rests. I do not lecture. I offer images and small practices. I read the verse as one who brings a lamp to the bedside. My aim is calm and quiet. The words are meant to settle the chest. Think of trust as a foundation, not flashy, not loud. Deep, plain stone laid in good earth. A house built on that stone does not sway at every wind. It keeps the room steady while storms pass outside. Trust works the same way. It is the thing under the feet when the path grows narrow. I invite you to imagine a simple foundation now. Picture a flat stone under the floor of your small room. Its surface is cool and even. Roots of oak trees circle it below the earth. The roots do not hurry. They spread slowly and hold through seasons. Let that slow holding be the image of trust tonight. Joy and peace are not always noisy. They come like small warmth under a blanket, or like the quiet glow of embers left in a hearth. When trust sits as a foundation, joy can rise without needing to prove itself. Peace follows because the house does not tremble at every step. I place my hand over my own heart as I say this. The gesture is small and steady. It is a way to feel what the words mean in the body. Try it with me. Lay one hand there. Breathe slow. Each inhale draws in a little steadiness. Each exhale lets a little worry fall away. Now imagine one thing you can trust tonight. It does not have to be grand. It can be a single truth you know that you are seen. That mercy has touched you before, that a small kindness came your way today. Name it in your mind. Do not argue. Simply name. Allow the thing to be a small stone. Place that stone on the foundation in your imagination. If naming is hard, choose a small act to represent trust. A lamp left on in an empty house. A neighbor who closed a gate. A friend who texted a short, kind line. These acts stand as proof that trust has already been given and received. They are the planks and bricks of a real foundation. I slow my voice and offer a brief practice. Breathe in. Let the inhale move to the belly. Hold for a soft beat. Breathe out and picture placing one small stone on the foundation. Repeat twice. Each time the foundation looks a little more built. The house feels less likely to shift with passing winds. Trust is not an absence of trouble. It is how the trouble is held. The foundation does not stop rain or wind. It makes the rooms inside safe enough to sleep. That safety lets joy enter the morning without frantic searching. That safety allows peace to sit by the bedside like a quiet friend. I also say this plainly. Trust can be fragile at first. It is often rebuilt after disappointments. That is okay. Foundations can be patched. New stones can be set beside old ones. The work is slow. It happens in small acts, a prayer kept, a kindness remembered, a habit of turning thoughts toward what is true rather than toward what frightens. Consider a small nightly ritual for this rebuilding. Keep a smooth pebble near the lamp. When worry comes, pick it up. Feel its weight. Inhale and say a short, simple phrase in your heart, something like, I rest here. Exhale and set the pebble down on your imagined foundation. Do this a few times until the hands stop rehearsing the tension. No need for preaching. The act itself trains muscles. The nervous system learns a new rhythm. The shoulders slacken. The jaw uncurls. The breath lengthens. Little by little, the body remembers that it can rest on a secure stone. Trust also grows through memory. Think of a time you were guided through a hard hour. Maybe someone sat with you. Maybe sleep came despite noise. Maybe a quiet prayer changed how the day felt. Let that memory be a block you add to the foundation. Memory is practical. It is evidence you can touch. I speak gently about hope now. Joy and peace rest on trust. Hope is the small ladder that reaches from the rooms of tonight to morning. It is not a sudden promise of ease. It is a narrow, honest ladder. Each rung is an action. You can actually do breathe. Name one kindness. Allow one small mercy. Climb one rung slowly. The next will be there when you need it. Mercy belongs at the base too. Mercy is the mortar between the stones. It holds cracks together and prevents sharp edges from cutting. Give yourself that small grace tonight. Permit mistakes to be just that small glitches rather than fatal faults. Let mercy glue the pieces back where they belong. I read a few lines from the letter. With that thought in mind, the words speak of hope, filling you. They do not demand that you be perfect to receive it. They suggest that trust is the posture that opens the hands to joy and peace. This posture is a simple orientation of the heart, a leaning toward the one who has kept faith before. I offer a short, inward practice to close this part. Take 3 slow breaths with me. On the first inhale, imagine drawing a thin light down to the chest. On the first exhale, place a pebble on your foundation. On the second inhale, bring to mind a small kindness from today. On the second exhale, set that kindness beside the pebble. On the third inhale, feel a modest hope rising like a small ladder. On the third exhale, let the breath settle the ladder into place. No need to fix everything now. The foundation grows with patience. The hand that lays each stone is steady. Joy finds room to sit. Peace walks through the rooms at evening. Hope leans into morning. As I close the page, I speak one quiet blessing. May a trust like a good foundation settle beneath you. May small stones of memory and mercy be placed one by one. May joy rise gently, and peace keep its watch over heart and mind. May hope give you a steady ladder into tomorrow. I lay the book down softly. The lamp remains low. The pebble stays near the bedside if you choose to keep it. Rest when you are ready. I will read again when the next part comes. For now, sleep in the steadiness of a trust that holds. The lamp is low. The room breathes with the same slow rhythm it has all evening. I keep my hand where it finds the steady rise of the chest. Tonight I tell a memory of a friend. The memory is soft. It sits beside other small things. I bring to bed a bowl, a pebble, a lamp. The friend arrives in the memory the way daylight arrives through a kitchen window. No drama. No announcement. A car door closes, and a footstep comes up the path. The presence itself matters more than the details. A hand at the door, a quiet hum of a familiar voice, a small bag with bread, a thermos with hot tea. These are ordinary things. They turn out to be the instruments of mercy. I am deep in the work of forgiving. The work is longer than expected. Some nights it moves in tidy circles. Other nights it loops and returns. The friend does not attempt to fix the timeline. Instead, they make space. They sit in the chair opposite mine and allow the silence to be large and safe. The quiet they bring is an action. It says you are not alone in this slow labor. The first thing offered is practical. A cup of tea passed without flourish. A folded blanket placed over the knees. A small basin of warm water left on the table. The basin is familiar. We have used it before in private practices. Tonight it becomes a witness. Together we set a pebble on the rim. I do not have to explain the weight in my palm. The pebble says it for me. The friend watches while I name one small hurt. The naming is brief. It is a single pebble placed into the basin. No interrogation follows. No long advice. Just presence and a steady gaze that asks nothing more than honesty. The act of being attended to in that way teaches a new muscle. The body learns that vulnerability can rest without being exploited. Time bends gently in that memory. The friend moves through small acts with a careful economy. They mend a torn edge of a quilt while I speak. They smooth the tea towel. They fold a letter into a neat square and tuck it under the lamp. The hands work with ordinary things. The ordinary work is sanctified by steadiness, long after the words fade. The hands remain as proof that someone stayed. There is one night I keep returning to, A decision needs to be made. A word must be offered, and the choosing feels like stepping onto thin ice. I have rehearsed the sentence until the throat tightens. The friend does not stand behind me. They walk beside me instead. We take a short walk together across an empty field. The stretch of grass and the hush of the night make it possible to breathe and practice the line out loud. The sound of the words in the dark is less sharp, because the friend is there to catch them. The expenditure of courage becomes a shared thing. Afterward the chest betrays less tremor. Witnessing in this memory is quiet. The friend does not perform a verdict of forgiveness. They do not congratulate or condemn. They witness the small steps. When I leave a note on a doorstep, the friend waits in the car and then opens the door as if nothing out of the ordinary happened. That opening of a door later becomes a small sacrament. The act of someone witnessing a brave step makes that bravery less fragile. The friend also models patience. When my heart recoils and the pebble in my hands grows heavy again, the response is not admonition. A gentle hand rests near mine, a low hum of acceptance, a repetition of the basin practice in the following evenings. Repetition proves more powerful than a single speech. The habit of showing up over weeks rearranges fear into a manageable shape. On a different night, the friend brings a small book. It is not ornate. It is a thin volume with dog-eared pages. We open it and read a short line together. The reading is slow and deliberate. I hear the passage not as doctrine, but as a neighborly cadence. The words land like light. When the reading closes, the friend places that book under a pillow as a sign that the practice can continue on its own. That gesture speaks of trust. It says, "Take this into the night and let it keep you company." There is an important kind of witness in all of this. It is not the witness of witnesses who bear testimony on a stage. It is the witness of someone who remembers the small details later. Months after the hard conversation, the friend will call and mention a line I said in that field walk. They do not use the memory as a scalpel. They offer it as a mirror. The remembering itself affirms that the struggle was real and that the progress was seen. That kind of witness becomes a tether on nights when the mind doubts. Mercy grows in practical gestures in the memory. When shame wakes in the middle of the night. The friend once texted a short line of plain kindness. The message is a small lamp in the pocket. It does not fix the shame. It simply makes the darkness less absolute. Later, I put that message into the gratitude jar. The slip of paper sits with other small tokens. On difficult mornings I read one line and the chest loosens an inch. These reserves of mercy matter. There is also the moment of reconciliation in the memory. It does not arrive as a sudden flood. It comes as a cup offered across a table. The table is small, and the room is warm. Words may be awkward. There may be apologies and silences. The friend sits in the corner and does not look away. After the cup is set down, and the conversation ends, the friend claps a small, private hand on the shoulder. That brief touch says more than 1,000 arguments. It says you have stepped into repair. Witnessing is both outward and inward in this memory. Outward, because the friend is physically present for actions that matter. Inward, because their presence shifts my internal narrative. Where once I rehearsed blame like a script, I learned to weave in mercy. The mind slowly prefers the gentler images. The body follows. There are practical daily practices that the friend and I keep. A lamp by the bed. A basin with warm water. A pebble ritual. A short sentence of gratitude each night. These small tools are repeated in the memory until they become habits. The friend's role is not to invent new instruments. The role is to share the practice and to keep the rhythm. The rhythm is healing work. Witnessing also teaches boundaries. The friend does not force reconciliation with anyone who is unsafe. In those cases, the witness becomes an advocate of distance. Support does not always look like rapprochement. It sometimes looks like helping put distance where it is needed. The friend honors that practical wisdom. Mercy and safety can live together when someone has the patience to hold both. The last frame of the memory is simple. The friend rises to leave just as the room grows thin with early sleep. A light knock at the door. A hug that is brief and steady. The kind of goodbye that does not carry expectations. The lamp stays low. The basin waits near the bed. The pebbles are fewer. The heart is lighter by degrees. I read this memory aloud to the room now. I do so as part of the gentle work of the night. It is a small testimony to how forgiveness grows in company. The Bible I read each evening contains many kinds of witness. This memory sits beside those pages as a lived example. The friend's steady presence is a lived parable of grace. Before sleep. A short practice. Breathe in slowly. Place one hand where the chest moves the most. Name quietly one small thing the friend did that helped. Do not catalogue a life. Choose a single act. Picture that act like a lamp on the bedside table. Breathe out and let the image warm the chest. A brief prayer follows in the hush. Thankfulness for the friend, for the simple acts, for the habit of showing up. Ask for the courage to be that steady witness for another. Ask for the patience to repeat small mercies. The prayer is a whisper. It is enough. I close the book slowly. The lamp keeps a small circle for a moment. The memory rests like a stone warmed by the sun. Tomorrow will carry its own challenges. For now, hold the image of the friend who stayed, and let the breath match the steadiness of that presence. Sleep comes more easily when mercy has been witnessed. I will read again soon. For now, rest in that witnessed grace. I lower the lamp a fraction more. The light thins. The edges of the room soften. I hold the page gently and let a single line sit between us. The sentence is simple. It offers a small permission. It invites the body to rest. I read the verse as one who reads before sleep. I do not rush it. I speak it in a soft paraphrase, so the ear can carry it easily. In peace, I will lie down and sleep. For you alone. O Lord, make us dwell in safety. The words are an offering. They are not a lesson. They are a kind hand placed at the edge of the bed. Let the first image come. Lie down. Do not hurry the motion. Feel the mattress receive you. Notice how the weight spreads from the heels to the hips. Allow the shoulders to find a lower place. Let the hands rest where they want to rest. The body learns this motion by practice. One slow lying down can be a teacher. Sleep appears in many small shapes. Sometimes it is a deep, steady rest. Sometimes it is a light, watchful sleep that comes between waking moments. Tonight, the promise is of sleep that serves the body. It repairs. It loosens the knots. It does not demand that the day be fixed first. Sleep begins the mending where the hands cannot reach. The phrase "for you alone," O Lord, speaks of a presence no noise can fully explain. It names a calm companion. Picture a lamp left low in an empty room. The lamp keeps watch without fuss. It is not loud. It only stays. That staying is the shape of safety promised here. The presence does not erase storms outside. It steadies the inside room enough to bear them. Let the breath guide you into the image. Inhale slowly. Count to 3 if that helps. Hold for a quiet instant. Exhale long. Repeat. Each breath draws the chest into a gentler rhythm. With each out-breath, imagine a soft settling under the ribs, as if someone tucks a blanket across the lower belly. The breath is a simple instrument. It does not need proof to do its work. I invite a short body scan now. Start at the feet. Notice any tension there. Breathe and let it ease. Move to the calves. Breathe and let them soften. Pause at the knees and at the thighs. Let the legs rest heavy into the bed. Bring attention to the hips for a breath. Soften the belly. Let the breath push outward gently. Move up to the chest and the shoulders. Give them permission to fall another fraction. Find the hands and the fingers. Let them open a little wider. Finish at the jaw and the brow. Unclench the teeth if they hold. Smooth the space between the eyes. The body answers small requests when they are kind. Imagine a small harbor now. A boat ties to a post. The oars rest. The water rocks the hull in a slow, familiar pattern. The harbor does not take the sea away. It keeps the boat until the weather eases. The image is practical. It gives a place to lay down the work of the day. The harbor is not sudden rescue. It is steady enough for sleep. Safety, as the line suggests, often looks ordinary. A closed door, a warm blanket, a neighbor who locks their gate at night, a lamp kept at low burn. These things do not shout security. They braid it quietly. The memory of such small protections can be enough to steady the mind when the dark presses in. Think of one small protection you have tonight. Let that thought be a pebble you place on a bedside table. If fear rises, do not wrestle it hard. Name it once with a soft voice in your mind. Breathe. Imagine laying that fear beside the pebble. See it small. It need not be argued into silence. It can be held for a moment and given a place on the table. The room remains secure. You remain held. There is mercy in this night line. Mercy is not always a thunderous change. It is a steady tending. It comes as a hand smoothing hair from a forehead. It comes as someone who stays awake until a child sleeps. It comes as a gentle refusal to measure worth by a long list. Let the idea of mercy rest, like a warm cloth across the shoulders. Hope sits with mercy and safety. Hope is not a bright trumpet here. It is a small lamp kept deliberately near the head. The lamp does not force the morning. It only keeps the first steps of dawn possible. With hope in its simple form, the mind can accept the present as enough for tonight. I offer a short practice you can take into the dark. Choose a phrase to breathe with. Keep it calm and plain. It can be as simple as I will lie down in peace, or I am held. On the inhale, think the beginning of the phrase. On the exhale, think the end. Let the breath carry the phrase like a quiet bell. Allow it to repeat until the eyes grow heavy or the mind inclines to sleep. The phrase is a small rope to bring attention home. Be gentle with the mind when it wanders. When thoughts drift to tasks or to lists, notice the drift without scolding. Return your attention to the breath and the phrase. Each return is a small exercise of trust. Trust does not demand immediate return. It only invites repeated turning. I keep a short inward prayer here, said without trumpets. I ask for safe keeping through the night, for mercies that will mend slow places, for a morning that comes with gentleness. The prayer is brief. It is not ornate. It is the kind of request that a tired person can whisper and then put away with the hands. If waking comes in the night, let the same practices guide you back. Breathe slowly. Name one small protection. Return the phrase to the lips of the mind. Walk through the body scan again. The motions are small, but they are faithful. They steady the nervous system without needing dramatic change. Think of the household you belong to. Whether small or tending a larger table, picture the house as a place where doors close and lamps stay lit for a while. The community does not need to be large. A single neighbor or a single steady memory can create the feeling of dwelling in safety. Keep that image near. Let it be a companion to the lamp at your bedside. As this part draws to a close, rest your hands where they feel easiest. Keep the lamp low. Let the book rest nearby. The verse sits now as a small lantern. It does not demand you understand everything about safety. It simply keeps a steady glow. When the eyes finally fold, let sleep come without hurry. If it takes its time, continue the breath and the simple phrase. Allow the body to receive the quiet work of the night. I will stay a little while longer in the hush if you need the sound of a voice. If sleep has already found you, rest well in the gentle promise that you dwell in safety. This part ends with that quiet assurance. Lie down in peace. Sleep in the steady keeping that watches without noise. Gentle mercy and hopeful calm will remain until morning. When the next page opens, we will continue together. For now, let the breath lead and let the night do its quiet work. Shitsi, good night prayer. I speak a single quiet prayer and then sit back into the hush. The sentence floats like a small lamp between us. Lord, watch over us as we sleep. Keep our bodies safe. Ease our minds. Meet our mornings with mercy and new beginnings. The line is simple. It asks little and gives everything it can at once. I let the words rest. They do not have to be unpacked or explained. The prayer is not a test. It is an offered hand. Take it in if you will. Lay it beside the pillow. Let it be a small thing that the mind can hold if it wanders. I slow my breathing now. Inhale gently. Exhale slowly. Match the breath to the prayer. Each inhale brings the quiet in. Each exhale releases one small worry. Picture that worry as a loose thread on a sweater. It need not be cut. It may be folded and placed near the lamp. The act of putting it somewhere else already lightens the load. I remind myself and you that mercy attends ordinary nights. Mercy wears no parade clothes. It comes as a warm blanket, a steady lamp, a neighbor who closes a gate. It moves in small steps. It stays. Let this thought be a soft place to return to when noise presses in. Hold a single phrase from the prayer. Keep it small. I like the words meet our mornings with mercy. Say them inwardly 2 or 3 times. Let the phrase be a slow bell. The sound is steady and does not demand a response. It is the kind of word that lets the mind settle into a quieter chamber. The Bible I read is a companion now, not an argument. The pages we turn tonight remain folded like a cloth. The images meadows, lamps, basins of warm water sit beside the bed like quiet tools. Use them if the night becomes sharp. Each image is a method of easing. None of them is a test of faith. I press my fingertips lightly together. The gesture keeps the hands calm. If hands tend to worry, fold them in the lap or lay one over the heart. The physical touch reminds the nervous system that it can stop rehearsing old alarms. A small touch is a sentinel that watches the body relax. If sleep comes quickly, lid it. There is no shame in a sudden drift. Sleep repairs where reasoning cannot. It rearranges the soft tissues of the mind and wraps frazzled thought in rest. If wakefulness remains, keep the prayer near the lips of the mind. Repeat it without force. Let each repetition be a small settling. I encourage one more tiny practice before the night deepens. Picture a thin line of light at the foot of the bed. It is gentle. It is not meant to blind. Imagine placing the day's heaviest worry on that line of light like a pebble. Watch the light warm the pebble. It does not make the pebble vanish. It only makes it easier to carry when morning comes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let the pebble warm. Now I fold the prayer back into silence. The single sentence remains as a lamp left low. It will not demand to be carried. It will keep its place beside the pillow and wait until morning. I set the book gently where hands can find it. The lamp dims by only a breath. The room learns to be still. Shabbat. I sit for a moment in the small quiet that follows. The night is a soft thing now. The breath matches the low lamp's glow. I listen to a few small sounds, the slow drift of the house settling. A distant car. The faint settling of warm air through a vent. None of them startles the room. They are the slow footfalls of the evening finishing its walk. I remember the work of these readings. I read the Bible to you before sleep. That is the shape of this hour. The voice is not a teacher's bell. It is a companion's hand. I choose short sentences. I keep the pace steady. The text I read is meant to be heard and to be held as gently as a teacup. The night carries a practical kindness. It asks for small acts of care. A glass of water near the bed. A blanket pulled up to the chin. A phone set aside and silenced. These are the small preparations that tell the body it is allowed to stop. The mind respects these quiet signs. The body follows, if you like. Make one more small motion now. Smooth the blanket, adjust the pillow, turn the head to a comfortable side. These tiny changes can change the way sleep arrives. The body reads them as permission. Allow the permission to be genuine and to last. I hold an image of morning, not as a pressure, but as a gentle horizon. Morning will come with its own work. That is true. It also brings newness. The prayer, we said, invites that newness. It names mercy at the start of the day. Picture the morning as a place that will meet you with small chances to try again. Not with demands for perfection. There may be places of regret that feel loud when the house is still. If they come, do not shout at them. Do not chase them into caves. Notice them. Name them softly in the mind, and offer them the basin of warm water we spoke of earlier. Let the act be small and repeated. A single washing will not erase history. Repetition, mercifully, rearranges how memory sits on the chest. I keep one frank thought while the room darkens. Mercy and hope do not erase responsibility. They change how responsibility is carried. They make room for repair in steadier ways. Think of it as moving from carrying a basket of stones on the shoulders to placing them in a cart that a friend will help push. The load is still present. The method of carrying is kinder. If you are alone tonight, remember you are not unobserved. The quiet companion I read of is not theatrical. It is steady. Imagine a slight light left near the door of your home. It may be only a lamp in another window, but it speaks of presence. Presence need not be loud to be real. Let that imagined light hold you. Before leaving the room, set one small intention for the morning. It need not be broad. Choose something manageable. A short call to one person. A walk to the corner store. A single task done slowly. The intention gives the mind a gentle shape to return to. It is a practical way to bridge sleep and waking without sudden demand. I bow my head for a moment inwardly. Thank you for staying with me in this slow reading. Thank you for allowing these simple practices into the night. It is a quiet exchange. I bring words. You bring openness. The reading is a shared byway to rest. My voice grows lower still. I will not read you into doctrine tonight. I will not press heavy ideas into the dark. The aim is rest, mercy, and a small seed of hope. These things fit the hours like soft clothing. Wear them as you need. Remove them in the morning if they feel tight. There is room for change. If sleep has not yet arrived, savor the small simplicity of the present moment. Listen to a single breath. Notice the soft rhythm. Use it as an anchor. Let thoughts that rise be like leaves on a stream. Watch them pass and do not chase them. Return to the inhale, the exhale, the small light at the foot of the bed. When the eyes grow heavy and the lids fold, accept the coming rest. Let the body do its slow repair. Let the mind walk the small fields of mercy we have named. If a dream is a thread pulled through the night, may it carry a small mercy with it. If awakening comes at any hour, do the breathing again. Repeat the prayer in the mind, if that helps. Keep the practices close. I place the book down with care. The lamp sits low and patient. The night will do its work while I remain at the edge of awareness. Tomorrow comes with its own small tasks and possibilities. For now, sleep. Let the mercy of the night be real. Let hope be a quiet lantern handed over at the bedside. I close this hour with a final, simple benediction in my heart. May you be kept safe. May your breath find its steady rhythm. May gentle mercy meet your waking. May tomorrow bring a patient beginning. Rest now. I will read again another evening. For tonight, the house is quiet and the lamp is low. The breath leads. Let sleep come. I sit a moment longer in the low light. The hour is thin and kind. My voice has kept a slow pace all evening. My hands close the book with care. I let the last page rest where it can be found again. This hour has a purpose. It is to calm the body. It is to quiet the mind. It is to set mercy and hope near the bedside. I have read aloud. The words were simple. They were meant to be heard, not argued. They were meant to be a steady hand on a tired shoulder. Remember one thing before the lamp goes lower. God's love is constant. It is not a bright flash that leaves quickly. It is a quiet presence that keeps its post. Imagine a steady light in a distant window. It does not demand you move. It only shows that someone watches. That watching is love. Accept that watching without proof. Let the image settle. Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel the steady shape of that presence like a soft weight across the chest. It does not force answers. It simply remains. That is mercy in simple form. If comfort comes tonight, keep it close. Place it like a small stone on a shelf beside the bed. Name it if that helps. A word, a scene, a warmth felt in a hand. These small things act as anchors when the dark stretches long. They do not have to be loud to be true. Consider sharing this comfort in small ways. Do not make a display. Do not feel one must convince anyone. Offer rather what you have found helpful. Invite a neighbor to sit with you by a low lamp. Offer to read a short passage to a friend who is wakeful. Send a gentle note to someone who has labored long. Small invitations change nights. If speaking feels heavy, use softer methods. Make a list of 2 or 3 lines that helped you. Write them on a small card. Tuck the card into a book. You will lend. Leave a cup of tea on a friend's doorstep with a folded note, a kind line, an offer to listen. These tiny acts do not call for big bravery. They simply pass along a warmth. You can also share the rhythm of this hour. Teach a short practice. Show one breathing pattern. Show how to place a hand on the chest and let the breath lengthen. Demonstrate how to name one worry. Place it in a basin of imagery and let it rest. The practices are small and easy to teach. They travel light and change, how a person carries the night. If you keep a gentle reading habit, invite one person to come once. Read a few lines aloud. Let the pauses breathe. Make the room simple. Keep devices silenced. Let the voice be the company for that night. Many find that a single shared hour heals more than a long talk. Be wise about whom you invite. Choose those who will welcome the quiet. Do not press the practice on someone who needs other sorts of care. When mercy and safety are the aim, Patient listening matters more than persuasion. Let the invitation be a calm hand, not a push. If sharing by voice feels too much, consider recording a short reading. A few minutes on a gentle track can be mailed to a waking friend. A recorded prayer can be a steady sound on a dark night. Keep the words plain. Keep the pace slow. A recorded voice can become a companion across distances. Kindness spreads softly. It often grows by small repetition. A single short evening once a week can become a refuge. A steady group that meets for quiet reading need not meet publicly. 2 or 3 people who gather, even by phone, create a small community of rest. The habit is what heals, not any perfect performance. If you receive comfort here, gratitude can become another small gift to pass on. Thank silently. Thank out loud. Place a note for someone who helped you along the way. Naming the help makes it more real. It trains the heart to look for grace where it is already present. Do not be afraid to ask for help in sharing. Some nights, the voice will tremble. Some nights, the hands will feel too tired to reach out. Call someone who has steadied you before. Ask if they will come alongside to invite another. Mercy often travels in linked hands. Keep short rituals that anchor the practice. A lamp left low, a small stone on a shelf, a written line folded in a pocket, a basin of warm water imagined by the bed. These tiny objects become signals to the body that rest is permitted. Teach them to another, and the signal grows into a community practice. Be gentle with expectations. Sharing comfort is not a project to complete. It is an offering that may be accepted or declined. The aim is to widen a room where peace can enter, not to seal every heart to a single idea. Let the offering be free. Let the response be what it is. If you are faithful in these small things, notice how the body learns new habits. The jaw unclenches more easily. The shoulders lower sooner. The breath lengthens without command. Mercy and hope begin to feel like available tools rather than distant concepts. This is the practical fruit of simple practices, shared and repeated. When you pass along these practices, do so with no heavy theology. Keep words plain. Keep images small. Speak of lamps, bowls, and steady hands. These things are tangible. They are easy to hold when the mind grows busy. A simple description of how to breathe slowly helps more than an argument about why it should work. There will be nights when sharing feels impossible. Be content to keep the comfort for a time. Store it as one keeps a small store of bread for later. The practice will not be lost. It rests like seed in the soil until a season is ready. Mercy is patient with the slow rhythms of life. I close with one more invitation. If these evenings have eased your chest, consider bringing another soul with you in the near future. Not to persuade, not to perform, simply to offer a seat beside the lamp and a voice that reads slowly. That single step expands a quiet community of care. It spreads mercy in manageable ways. Before the light goes out, take 3 slow breaths with me. Breathe in. Hold for a soft beat. Breathe out. Let one small thing of fear rest on the bedside table like a pebble. Breathe in again. Picture a thin line of light stretching from your room to the next. Breathe out and see the line land gently on the neighbor's window. Breathe a third time. Name the love that keeps watch. Let it be enough. My work here is to read to you before sleep. That will continue when the hour comes again. For now, the lamp is low. The book closes. The circle of light grows small. The invitation to mercy and to gentle sharing remains. May you rest under the steady love that does not waver. May the small practices we use tonight become tools for quiet. May the courage to share arrive in tidy, manageable steps. Sleep well. Wake gently. Carry this peace into the morning, and if you are moved, place a lamp in another room. Invite someone to sit. Help the circle grow. Good night.